Good evening. This is Professor Reginald A. Fessenden speaking to you from Brant Rock, Massachusetts.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nate Killian. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, would love for you to consider subscribing. That way you'll be the first to know whenever I upload new content. If this is not your first time here, thank you for watching another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can shoot a beer commercial from home. Right now we're in my office. Me and my good friend Mark are going to be filming a commercial for Stellwagen Beer Company. This is a beer called Invisible Airwaves. Right now all we have is a ring light. We have a couple miniature aperture lights, and we just have a black piece of paper as a background. Low budget filmmaking. So let's get into it. Man, that's good. Big IPA guy. All right, so I'm gonna walk you through this step by step. This beer is an IPA called Invisible Airwaves, and the inspiration behind this beer is that the first radio broadcast took place in 1906 on Christmas Eve by Reginald Fessenden in Brant Rock, Massachusetts, which is why in the first few shots of this commercial, you'll see that old radio and then you hear the first radio broadcast recording. So right off the bat, you're gonna see this is an extremely low budget setup. That's just poster paper on the wall that I bought from a store for literally less than $5, and I just duct taped it to the wall. And that became our black backdrop. Try saying that like 5 times fast. We only use 2 lights. One is the ring light, which I'll put in the description below, and the other is the mini MC aperture light, which is also in the description below. I shot this entire video with my Sony a6400 in a 35mm lens, and I shot the entire thing in 120 frames per second. That way I could speed up or slow down the shots as much as I want. So these opener shots are pretty basic. We pretty much just framed up our shot, and then in post-production when I was editing, I added in that slow push in or pull out by adjusting the keyframes with our scale on our clips. However, right at that first push in on the radio, you see the radio dial arrow thing spin by itself into our spinning transition. And here's how we did that. We literally just left the camera rolling and I manually moved the arrow with my hand. And we did that over and over again, just like stop motion animation. Then in post, I went through that clip and I took one frame from each section of the arrow moving. I put them all back to back in a timeline, nested them together, and placed it into my timeline. And now it looks like the arrow is moving by itself. I don't know how many times I'm going to do that. The clockwise transition that follows is just a clockwise spinning transition that I bought from another creator here on YouTube like 4 or 5 years ago. You can literally buy these transition packs for like $15. There are so many creators here on YouTube who have created these presets for you to purchase from them. All you have to do is search for them. Next, we reveal the beer can, and to make this look fresh and cold, I took this like water thing, spray bottle, that's it. A spray bottle, and I just sprayed the can a bunch of times until the water droplets started to form and run down the can. We then got these rotation shots.
This is our turntable situation. We got a container of chocolates in here and a spinny thing.
That was in my fridge and it's low-key covered in food.
It's disgusting.
Thanks, Mark.
And we're just gonna raise up the can. I'm putting this in here and we're gonna spin it by hand.
We turned the aperture light off for these shots just so that the ring light would cast a really dramatic shadow on the can. And of course, we sprayed the can a ton just to make it look fresh and cold, like I said earlier. So what you'll notice is that a lot of these shots are actually really basic. There's no movement at all. We really just placed our camera in different places and framed up our can or our glass. For example, we only picked 3 different angles for pouring the beer into the glass. But a key element of getting these shots of the beer being poured into the glass was the lighting. Every time we got a shot of the beer being poured into the glass, we actually had to hold the ring light over our glass, kind of like a halo. This was to prevent any harsh light shining and reflecting off the glass. To make these shots look less static, I actually went in post and I added in a slow push in or pull out by adjusting our scale value from plus or -5 from the beginning to the end of the clip. I also increased the speed on some of these pouring shots just so that we could see the beer foam up a little quicker. And then lastly, we ended with one final spinning, rotation, transition, and revealing our logo. Next key piece here is sound design. So we start with that click on of the radio, and like I mentioned earlier, you then hear the music start playing, and you hear the old radio broadcast start playing as well. Another element to that was that I actually adjusted the volume of our music and the radio broadcast. As the knob turned, they slowly increased in volume as well. It just looked a little more realistic, and it made it seem like the music and the sound was actually coming out of the radio. Next, you hear that classic whoosh transition sound as soon as we spin and reveal our beer can. And the next few sound bites are actually probably the most important, and that is the cracking of the beer and the pouring of the beer. Other than that, there really isn't much to this sound design. All right, so I have some tips for if you are going to shoot a video like this in the future. If this is your first time shooting a product B-roll commercial, don't be afraid to keep it simple. Going into this, I thought I was gonna have to get these crazy pan shots and in-camera transitions and a lot of movement, and that stuff can be really cool if you do it correctly. But ultimately, when you do shoots like these, you need to highlight the product. And if you focus more on getting cool transitions and making this look as cool as you can, you might actually distract and take away from the product that you're trying to shoot. And lastly, you do not need the most expensive top-of-the-line gear to shoot something like this. It's so easy for young creators or beginning creators to take a look at people like Daniel Schiffer or Peter McKinnon or any other filmmaker and see how they have the top of the line gear in the industry and say, I can't make something like that until I can afford that gear. And that's just simply not true. People, I literally used paper and duct tape as my background. I want to give Stellwagen Beer Company a big shout out for the opportunity to put this together for them. The beer is just awesome, by the way. It's really tropical and smooth, and just an enjoyable beer to drink. That is just a 9 out of 10 for me. Oh, wait a second? Did this just become a beer review channel? No, not yet at least. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video or found it helpful, hit that like button just so I know that you would like to see more content like this in the future. And if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on that notifications bell. That way you and I can continue to grow as storytellers together. Thanks again for watching. Keep telling stories, and I'll see you in the next video. So good.